Caribbean connection, nigga. Let's get it. BX, we flexing, nigga. Yeah. Uptown, we reppin', nigga. Uptown. Marble Hill to the death, my nigga. Let's go.
Yo, Recruitment TV is back. People is back in the building. Stay more tuned, more features, bitch ass nigga. Black. Hey, what's good, man? It's Recruitment TV. It's been a while. You ain't seen me. Making moves. Guess what? Here with my boy. You know who it is.
Peace, y'all. What up? P-Wise in the building, Death Squad. What's poppin', P-Man?
It's been a while over here for you. Last I remember, we did a video that I declared was when I played as Eric Carter. That's one of the hottest videos ever. And I bet that every video you was at, that was one of the best videos I was in there. Especially I played as Eric Carter.
Yeah. I declared war, you know, basically, I know a lot of people, you know, if you didn't hear the record, you want to go to YouTube or iTunes and type in I Declare War by P-Wise. And, you know, a lot of people, when they hear that title, I Declare War, they automatically think violence. And in the chorus, I do say, if you take one of mine, I'm going to take one of yours. 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare war. I say no more murder without justice. You take one of mine, I'm going to take one of yours. Now, of course, that is saying that if you attack me with violence, then, or somebody of my community with violence, then I'm basically saying we should retaliate and take one of yours with violence. But when you listen to the actual song, I'm basically breaking down the reason why police officers can come inside the community and commit acts of violence and not get punished for the crimes that they are committing against the community. The first bar that I say in that song, I'm telling the listener, I'm saying to you, 3/5 of a man. 3/5 of a man is going back to the Dred Scott case, where white society said, according to law, that Black Americans had no rights that whites were bound to respect because they were 3/5 of a man.
That's true.
If they saying that you're 3/5 of a man, then what they're saying is that you're not a full organic living human being. So I'm telling you right off the bat why a police officer can come into your community and kill your son, can kill your daughter, and receive no punishment in the justice system for the crimes that they have committed against you, because the justice system, which is ran by so-called white Americans, Black Americans have no rights that a white man is bound to respect in the court of law.
That's a fact.
And this is why these instances continue to keep happening, and we seem to receive no type of retribution for these crimes that are being committed. And you could say, well, what about the $1 million settlements? Now, when you think about life itself, you can't put a price on it. So God forbid somebody, loses their son or their daughter.
Of course.
You can't pay that man, you can't pay that woman no amount of money that's ever gonna bring her son back. She could have $10 million and be chilling somewhere in the Bahamas, but she's still not gonna be able to enjoy that trip because deep in her heart, she's still suffering from the loss of her son. She's still suffering from the loss of her daughter. So the way that I think and the way that I approach the record, I basically, when speaking to my community, the message that I was trying to get across is, if somebody commits an act of violence against you, you have to commit an act of violence against them, because your rights are not respected. But what will be respected is the act of violence that you commit against them. Because no matter what, we all got to sacrifice.
That's true.
So if you're willing to make that sacrifice for the loss that you had to suffer from, then go about it how you're going to go about it. Protect your community. So when you go back and you listen to that record, listen very closely to the jewels that I'm giving you in that song. Because nowhere from verse 1 up until verse 3 is there any mention of violence at all. All it is straight knowledge throughout that entire record. So if you want to check that out, go to YouTube and type in I Declare War by P. Wise.
Well, that's one of the top videos that a lot of people was hitting me up, hitting everybody up. And people looked at me like, when I passed Eric Garner, everybody thought I was really me.
Yeah.
And I see people hit me up on Facebook, YouTube, and everybody was like, oh wow, that's one of the hot songs I wrote. And that really got me. I'm like, wow. Anybody want to shout at anybody? Like, anybody who want to shout at any RIP to people who died for that?
Oh, of course. Rest in peace. It's a lot of people to name. So, we're all familiar with each individual story. Everything, for the most part, is widely publicized. You know what I mean? So, rest in peace to everyone that suffered from police brutality, going back to Sean Bell, Amadou Diallo. It's just something that we have to realize, that people that are in law enforcement, they're trained to behave a certain way. They're trained to react a certain way when dealing with a certain community of people. Because if you take notice, these particular members of law enforcement are not in quote-unquote white neighborhoods. White neighborhoods are not heavily policed for instances like that to happen. They're not psychologically trained to even approach so-called Europeans in that way. So when you think about the urban community, not to get too deep, but when you look at issues of drugs and violence, things that will cause for police to even be there and to monitor the situation. When you look at the root of that, you know that the drugs itself was brought in by the government. So with that being said, it's all a plot from the beginning to even have that environment, period. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If the government puts the drugs in the community and people begin to benefit from the distribution of drugs, and once you start to implement a situation where people in poverty can now make money, now you create a situation where people are going to become territorial in regards to the money that they're going to be making. So then you create a conflict between this project and that project, this individual and that individual. this is why we have the problems that we have, because the government has created the environment for the trouble, for the police to have a need to be there. Because trust and believe, if the environment wasn't constructed the way it has been, we wouldn't have a need for police. But they keep it the way they keep it, as far as education, as far as healthcare, poverty, all of these things that are going on, mental illness that is not properly addressed, that could easily be fixed if money was just put in the proper places for these issues to be addressed. There wouldn't be a need for these so-called police officers to even be there in the first place, to even be in that situation. Because when you are a police officer, you're going out there in fear for your life, first and foremost, to begin with, because of the environment. Then, on top of that, you already have a certain perception of so-called African Americans, so-called urban people. So, you know, this is definitely something that has to be properly addressed. And going back to the hook, taking matters into your own hands and not relying on the system to do anything for you, not relying on trying to vote and get somebody in there because you know they're not going to do nothing for you. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, man.
There's no way in hell you could be in 2018 and still believe that a politician is going to back a nation of people that have no economic power. You know what I'm saying? Black people have not came together with and put their economic resources together to even make anything happen effectively. So don't be fooled. First and foremost, we got to get back and heal ourselves.
Yeah, that's true, man.
So we could actually come together and do something. Because if we can't come together like the Asians, Spanish people, then you're not going to be able to do anything anyway, because black people don't own anything.
Exactly.
You don't own anything, so
that's one of the best songs you put out. And I'm like, wow, it's gonna be a hit. It was a hit. A lot of people just blow up on YouTube, blow up on everything, and people from different states, different countries. You said, I'm like, oh wow, and it's still up there. It's still good. I look myself every day. I say myself, I put that in every garden. And I put it so well in, and I'm just like, okay.
yeah. I definitely want to give a shout out to Antigua for having me, and the reception of the record out there in a place like Antigua. You know, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Morris Norris Harris out there in Antigua running ABS radio. And what's funny about that is we was actually debuting the record on Morris Norris Harris in Antigua, and an army general from Antigua happened to be in the studio when we were debuting the record.
Oh wow.
So everybody was looking around like, oh shit, like what's he gonna think? Like, because you know I'm talking militantly, and I'm going against the so-called powers that be, the police force and everything like that. And he's one of the head people. You know, he's the top shotter in the army and the police and everything like that.
That's great.
But when he came in the studio, he said, "Yo, like he was loving the record. Like he said, he was saying the chorus and everything. Like it really stuck with him, because at the end of the day, everything, when you stand on truth, you can't refute it. If I'm giving you the facts, like he couldn't come to me and say, yo, like what was that about?
Of course,
because everything I said in the record was true.
It was true. Like you can't say that about it.
So
you got people in the block, in my block, telling me, that was you? Yo, I got people in the block asked about you, and they told me, tell me what people are. That's one of the hit records. That's a hot song. Even though everybody told me, even though that's your boy,
Yeah.
and everyone was telling me like, oh, P, you need to work with him more often.
You know, when I was in Antigua, I did exactly 4 interviews, radio interviews. I did 4 separate interviews. My first, like I said, interview was with Norris Harris.
Oh, okay.
That was the primetime radio, to the point. The primetime show alone, being that it was on the radio when I spoke, whether we got in the cab, whether we was in the store, the grocery store, no matter where I went, when I spoke, they said, oh, that's the Yankee boy from the radio.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like they knew, like everybody loved the record, like, so that spoke volumes for an island. You know, this isn't like a big country. This is an island of people that all received the record. And like I said, everyone agreed with what I said on the record. And that was the whole purpose of me making it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotta respect you for that.
The purpose of me making it was to educate, was to move you. You know what I'm saying? It was to put you in that mind state like no more. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessary. This isn't the type of record that you're gonna play in the club, but you might wake up in the morning and throw it on. You know what I'm saying? When you go and you do your workout, you might throw it on before you go to work. When you're trying to get that mental focus and you're trying to build up that fortitude. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to build up that masculinity in the females, even the females, that femininity. You're trying to build up that inner strength, that spiritual strength.
Yeah.
You feel me? And that was the purpose of me making that record, was to uplift and inspire and educate the people. You know what I mean? Because one thing people gotta understand is, at the end of the day, hip-hop is the voice of the voiceless. So me being a so-called entertainer, me being an artist, I have to paint the picture on the canvas, and art imitates life. So going back on the whole Antigua thing, another person that kicked off that record was DJ Blondell, who was actually the wife of Norris Harris.
Wow, damn. It was like you were all the world, man.
We had Dave Lester Payne on the night show that kicked off the record. And we also had DJ Jesse Congo on Sun FM, who was very instrumental in getting that record kicked off. Because when we played that record on Sun FM, we actually had people calling in from London. We had people reaching back from home in Brooklyn that was calling up to get that record played again. So, like, you going back, me being in Antigua, that record going all the way to London, places like that, and going all the way back to New York. Because really, I didn't do any radio runs in New York. All my promotion I did overseas.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Because it's more easier out there.
Not that it was more easier. It was just the time and place where I just happened to be, where it came time for me to promote. So that's just how that's where all basically it started, because that's basically what we're supposed to be doing. All of this is happening in New York. It's happening in the United States, right? So we take it, we spread the awareness across seas. So now our brothers and sisters around the world is all in that same energy.
Yeah.
It's all about concentrated thought. And we could all be on the same thought pattern, then we could cause change based off of the energy created based upon the concentrated thought of the masses of people. It's what they call a hive mind.
Oh.
That's when everyone is. You can have 1,000 people all thinking the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And that can be used negatively or positively. So let's say the government, how they're promoting homosexuality, right?
Yeah.
So now you got the masses of people which represent a hive mind who are now all in agreement. There's a segment of people that are now in agreement of this particular lifestyle. When before, a lot of other people was with them. Is that right or wrong?
Right.
How did people feel about that, in your opinion, back then?
Back then was different, man.
Exactly.
Back then was different.
Even
We the 2000s now. So, you know, the kind of, back then was different from now. It's
exactly.
been a whole different generations now, you know. The 2000s taking over everything. So it's like you can't. So all the truth is two different things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Like, you know, I lost some of my friends like that. So I kind of lost a couple like that. And as far as that feel concerned, that's what it is. Real life. It touched me to the heart. It touched me.
Yeah.
So like, you got any more, or you got any music coming up? You let people know what kind of songs you got coming up. So.
Well, since the release of I Declare War, my career has shifted in a very major way. You know what I mean? Now I'm officially signed to Def Squad Records under Eric Sermon.
Oh, congratulations on that.
You know what I'm saying?
I see you I see you over taking over, man. I'm proud of you, man. Like, you know, when I first worked with you, I always tell people, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. And I said, and I mean what I said, you're gonna make it. No lie, no nothing. I said, you're gonna make it. And look what happened, you're on top now. And one thing about being on top of the world, you will have people try to stop your hustle, but keep grinding. That's why I gotta let you know, by the end of the day, you know, you make it stronger.
You know, nobody. You know, you got a lot of people that's haters out there. You feel me?
Yeah.
You got niggas around you 24/7 that got hate for you. Niggas that's gonna talk shit and all that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when it comes to this, when it comes to life in general, the only person that can stop you is you.
And, you know, I love you.
Because
I love you a lot, and I respect what you do.
the one thing I will say is those people that spew that negative energy is what could stop you. That's what could kill you. That's what could hurt your grind. That could hurt your hustle. When you allow the next man to infiltrate your cipher. You know what I'm saying? When you allow the next man to penetrate what's in here, you can't let the next man break your spirit. You know what I mean? I hear a lot of nonsense these days, you know. I hear a lot of, because, you know, we're in the age of Aquarius now, so all of a sudden all of these black people are walking around woke, claiming they woke. woke movement, and got a lot of people talking about peace, God, they God, and conscious movement, and all of this nonsense. You know, but a lot of these people, they not 100% official. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You got people talk about they're well known. I'm the king.
Not even that. It's like once you claim, you can't even claim that you God. You gotta know you God. You can't be out here. It's like you can't be out here talking about you God, but then I turn around and see you smoking a cigarette.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a certain square that you got to stand on, and that goes back to me what you were saying. Yo, you can't let these niggas stop your grind, your hustle. They can't. How the fuck the nigga gonna stop me? How you gonna stop me, my nigga? You can't. I'm God. The next man could never infiltrate my cipher and break my spirit. You can't kill God. God is forever.
That's right.
The only person that can stop me is me. If I get weak, fuck up. Cause I know better. You know what I'm saying? We know we gotta do out here.
Yeah. But I learned from you a lot, and I did. My friend worked with you. I said, okay. And you know, so you know, like at the time, and you know, yeah. I said, I had to work with this dude, and I worked with you a lot. And I'm like, wow, he speaks the truth, man. And I said to myself, and sometimes you got people telling me, like, I always tell people, learn from this guy, man, he ain't gonna lie to you. He tell you, you should be the real truth. My mom asked me about you.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I watched on my come up, I seen a lot of guys, you know, jump from clip to clip, whatever's hot.
Caribbean connection, nigga. Let's get it. BX, we flexing, nigga. Yeah. Uptown, we reppin', nigga. Uptown. Marble Hill to the death, my nigga. Let's go.
Yo, Equipment TV is back. He went back in the building. Stay more tuned, more features, bitch ass nigga. Black.